Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. I think fall is here. Leaves are coming off the walnut trees and decorating the ground. Grass is growing on the newly seeded lawns. Just beautiful colors. This morning I got a little project to start on, and man, this compressor is heavy when it's full of air. This is my Farmall 504 loader tractor. She has a bit of a problem. Yep, I walked out here one day about a month ago and out of the blue, flat tire. Tried blowing it up and it went flat pretty fast. This tire has liquid in it, so I parked it with the valve toward the top of the tire so I wouldn't lose too much liquid, and saved it for a rainy day. Today's not raining, but it's kind of dreary. Put a little air in here. It's leaking right around the valve stem. It's not the two-piece valve stem, it's back up in the tube. And it's leaking out fluid. I just want to get her blown up enough to move her. It's been a while since she ran. Usually start straight up. This is my Farmall 504 tractor, about 45 horsepower if the wind's blowing in the right direction, and I do mean that. It has a C153 in it, which has no relation to the C152 that's in a Farmall H. It's actually a hopped up engine that started its life in a Farmall A as a 113. They hopped up to 153. It's a weird tractor. It doesn't have any low-end grunt because of that. It runs fast, and that's how it makes its horsepower. It has really slow reverse gear. You got to turn the steering wheel about 1,000,000 times to get the wheels to turn all the way because it's got the old-style power assist pump right below the steering wheel, and then direct mechanical linkage to the front steering. It's a weird tractor, but I've found it's really handy as a loader tractor. I think this is a Ford loader I picked up from a neighbor years ago and adapted to fit on this. And it's just handy because it starts straight up in the coldest weather, even with no choke. It just pops right off. It's good for feeding hay in the winter. It's good for jockeying things around the yard because it's gas. Gas is just easier and small. It's maneuverable. The project I have planned for this has many parts, and I'll explain them when we get the tractor inside. I want to get it washed off first, and a little later on we'll go out and check on the cattle, and I'll bring you up to date on things farm related besides tractors. Well, I got to turn the water on. Easier to sweep before than after. Wet butt. I forgot about that. Yeah. I hear gooses flying south for the winter. There we go. Let's see here. That one, put these crossways. I gotta get this wheel all the way off the floor so I can turn the wheel. What I want to do here is drain the fluid out so I can save it. And this is a fitting that goes on the valve stem. Adapts to a garden hose fitting and has an air bleeder valve on it over here. Well, don't leak like that. I want you to know. Turn it up here so it wouldn't leak so much. The garden hose goes on here. This is a 12 volt DC marine utility pump. I think it's rated at 200 gallons per hour. It's got garden hose connections on it. We just need to figure out which one's in. This is my out connection, another garden hose fitting. I better get this thing drained. Now that I got everything set up, I can take the Schrader valve out of the valve stem so it'll flow. Stop it! Took me a bit to get it set up in the right position, but now it's going along fine. This will be 10 gallons out. It is by no means fast, but that's okay. Working on 20 gallons. Hey. No. Keep your them dry. Let me try burping it. Sounds empty to me. I can't hear any sloshing. You know, when I get it to the bottom, nothing runs out. I got about 35 gallons out of that tire, plus a little bit in that bucket. I'm going to leave everything out and hooked up, and hopefully some more of that fluid will make its way into the tube that's escaped the tube. I don't know, it can't hurt. I'm waiting for a new tube to come in the mail. I ordered a Firestone tube, which hopefully, you know, is built better than the tubes you get now. The problem is that hardly anybody uses them anymore, and so they're not made as well as they used to be. And these were a set of cheap tubes in here, and well, I got, I don't know, 12 or 15 years out of this one. The stuff that I'm pulling out of here is windshield washer fluid. Why windshield washer fluid? Well, I needed weight in the back tires because of the loader on the front. Steel weights, you know, the wheel weights there, the cast ones, they're expensive. A set of those, I don't know what they're going for now. You used to say $1 a pound for wheel weights, but they seem to have gone up from there. This windshield washer is cheap. I bought it I bought 3 55-gallon drums of it when I filled these tires, and it was, I think it was 99 cents a gallon I paid for them. So it was the cheapest weight that I could find. The reason you want weight in the back of the tractor is because, of course, to counterbalance the weight you put in the front with a front end loader, and to get traction, you want enough weight on the back of the tractor so the wheels grab well. There's multiple ways to do it. There's the wheel weights, there's the fluid in the tires. The traditional fluid was calcium chloride, which is very corrosive, so if you had a leak in a tube or something, it would rot out the rim in no time. I used windshield washer fluid because it was cheap. You can use beet juice, which is heavier than windshield washer fluid. Windshield washer fluid is a little bit lighter than water because alcohol is the antifreeze additive that they put into it, and it's also got some kind of cleaning agent in it, so it's a touch lighter than alcohol. These wheels had about 65 gallons a piece in them. They're 15.538 wheels, and that added up to about 550 pounds extra weight per wheel. So it was a good bargain, and I didn't have a lot of money to spend on it, so that's what I did. I could also put a weight box on the back on the 3-point hitch. You know, just buy a weight box, fill it with concrete, and that's cheap weight as well. It'll take away from the maneuverability a little bit in the barn. I'm kind of up in the air about whether I'm going to put the fluid back in the tire or not. We'll figure it out. This is kind of part one of a series. I got a bunch of things that I need to do to this tractor. The other things I want to do to this tractor is I want to paint this loader International White, and I have that paint on the way as well. Just brush paint it. And after the manure spreader, I saw how Elkid paint leveled out it nicely on the manure spreader. I said, well, I can just clean this up and brush paint it. So I'm going to do it while it's in here. And I need to address the hydraulic valves. These are the 2 valves for the remotes, and they're modular, so it's a stack in here. 1 valve, 2 valves, and then an end plate. When I bought this tractor, it was a wreck. The front wheels faced like this. The whole tie rod steering, everything in the steering system was shot. I'm sure it had a front end loader on it for most of its life. And the hydraulic valves were shot too. In fact, a couple years ago, I did a series of videos where I rebuilt the governor and the carburetor and the hydraulic valves on this tractor, but the hydraulic valves still don't work right. They stick, and they're spool valves, and they're made one-off. So each spool valve is made to fit in the body that it comes with. You can't replace a spool valve with another spool valve. And I think that the valve pack was tightened, torqued wrong sometime in the past, and it's gotten warped, so the valves stick. I'm not certain of that. We'll pull them apart here when I get into the tire more, probably in the next video, try and figure out what's going on with them, but you really got to yank on the valve to get the loader to actuate. And so what I'm thinking is, because I've messed with these valves and valves on other old Internationals so much, is I'm just going to put a joystick valve on the fender here because they are so much nicer to work a loader with than the 2 independent valves that are beside the seat. And I'll put a Power Beyond plate on the valve stack to supply the joystick and the loader, and then keep at least one of the remotes that are there to run other hydraulics, you know, say if I run a hay bine or whatever, if I need it for some job in the field. So in summary, we'll be back to this in the next video. But now, well, I want to go out and see the cattle. Hi guys, do you have any gripes for me today? Guess not. They wait till I turn the camera off to gripe now. Guess I was wrong about that. We got cows over here playing King of the Hill. And then we got more cows and calves over here. Everybody's back together. Hey you. Hi little ones. That one right there is Dom, the bull. He already looks different than the other ones. He's stockier. Aren't you, bud? Maybe less likely to run away. You are a good-looking guy. Both bulls are out here, Titus and Orden. We combined them last week. The bulls had their usual headbutting contest, and it appeared that Titus won, even though he was in the barn and Orden was out on pasture. But he only won by a hair. It was a real close match. And I say he only won by a hair because Orden didn't go off and skulk in another field. They both pretty much stayed with the herd the whole time. I didn't film it because when I was working on the roof, replacing the roof on the addition, I hurt my shoulder cutting shingles. It was a repetitive kind of motion thing. And it's taken forever for me to recover. I had to take it easy the better part of this week trying to rest it. I don't know, I pulled something. So Hillary and I finished the cleanup. We took down the rest of the branches here in the laneway and cleaned up this and that and finished the list that I had, and then combined the herd, and then I did the best I could to stay inside and rest. You guys just look like you might like to go to a new field. I don't know why, but Titus is way over there next to the trees, and Orden's going out to get him. I'd like to put him on a new field if Titus will come over here. He's on his way. All right, guys, I'm gonna open the lower fields and you guys can find someplace else to eat, okay? Come on, gals. Well, let's go. Come on, guys. Let's see what we got down here. They're skeptical. What? You want to go on this field? We can do that. There's not a lot here, but you can go on it for a little while. Let me get the wires here. You can high step. There you go. After you, little ones. There goes Titus. He made his way back. And Orden. I clipped this field 3 weeks ago. Came up with loads of clover, but it's not very tall yet. I'll just let them take this for 4 or 5 days and then move them to another one. Hi, you. You're shaggy. You got your winter coat already. Yearlings, born in 24. You're a pretty color. Patty, you're just as round as ever. Hey, Ginger. Don't mind me. Have a bite. Orton seems to be the dominant bull today. He came over and saw me and, you know, had to check me out and make sure I was okay. They seem to be taking turns. Sometimes Titus is dominant, sometimes Orton is dominant. That's a good way to exist, I guess, just as long as they agree which is dominant each day. I gotta go down over the hill here and make sure all the gates are closed up. Keep them from going down there. Our principal problem this year has been precipitation. It's been an awful grass growing year. I think I've said that before. Everything looked wet this morning, but it's just heavy dew and mist, foggy air. We were supposed to get rain this week. We got maybe 1/10 of an inch. I was expecting to maybe get a couple inches. So right below the surface, it's dry and the grass is just not growing. If we had a bigger herd like we used to have almost twice as many head of cattle as this. We would have had them on hay a month ago. Fortunately, we can stretch it out with fewer per acre. Wood smells like fall. Decay, leaves starting to fall. Is that why they call it fall? I guess so. One more gate to close up. Howdy, ladies. There's just 2 of you now. We're keeping 2 heifers out, of course, so they don't get bred. They're going to the butcher next year. All the other cattle have gone. We're done with beef for this year. I got to move this 856. Yes, I haven't forgotten about it. I'm just taking a break before I do the sheet metal. And on to the 656. I guess that my plan in getting the 504 squared away is I'd like it to use it to load hay this winter. This tractor starts great in any weather. It's just got glow plugs, so sometimes you have to glow plug it twice or 3 times to get it warm enough to start, but I never have any problem starting it. I think that eventually I'd like to figure out what to do with this tractor since it's got cylinder head problems. And having the 504 as a backup will allow me to do that. Glow plugs. As for poultry, well, the broilers are gone. Boxes were over here. We brought them, parked them over here for the winter. Took down the electronet fencing. The layers are still out here. Pullets are still pulleting in the house here. And they've grown interested in the nesting boxes. Look at all you guys up there. This week we started getting our first pullet eggs. Little ones. Thank you. Upcoming projects. I have to get the cattle pen in the barn all cleaned out and ready for them to move into when winter feeding season starts. Given the dryness, it'll probably be earlier than December 1st. We need to do stew hens out of the layers in the pasture, the older ones, and then clean out the hoop house, the winter house, and move the two flocks together. I need to finish that 504. That's my first mechanical job of the winter. I have the 856 completing that in line, the international truck, depending on the weather later on this winter. There's lots of things to do, lots of miscellaneous little things, and kind of in order as I choose, which I enjoy. I feel like doing this that day, that day. I'm open. And there's this. I'm excited about this, the garage. Just like I talked about in the shop video, we have sold all but one of the chest freezers that we wanted to sell. So now we have few enough where we can move them over to the wall you can't see that's on this side of the camera. And then take the woodworking equipment, move it over here, build a wall down the middle, finish out the space and all that, and get going on woodworking projects. The first of which is a really nice cedar bird feeder I have planned for behind the kitchen. I put a post in the ground there, I'm letting it settle in, and we're gonna have a nice place to watch birds in the wintertime outside our kitchen window. So, life is good when there's a lot of different things to choose from. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.